You are tuned and listening in to the Woman to Woman show here on Community Radio Kilkenny City. On this beautiful COVID Wednesday afternoon, the sun is shining and beaming from the heavens out there. A huge thank you to John Devlin for his lovely tunes this afternoon. As usual, I'm broadcasting remotely from home, and we have Mick Cummings on the technical sound and Kevin Lafar operating from the studio for me from the mothership in Community Radio Kilkenny City. As many of our regular listeners will know, the Woman to Woman show is focusing on thanking as many frontline heroes as we possibly can during this coronavirus pandemic, as we are all in the safety of our own homes. So a big shout out as well to all our listeners who've been cocooning over the last 6 weeks. It must be a great feeling to go outside and breathe in the fresh air and just go out and about again and even go for the walk or go to the shop. So a big shout out to all our listeners who have been cocooning. On today's show, as part of our Thank You for Your COVID-19 service, I will be chatting to Adrian Stevens from Synergy Pilates, who is offering her service of Pilates classes free to all frontline workers and the frontline heroes. And to all the rest of the general public, the Pilates classes she is offering is equal to the cost of a cup of coffee, latte or cappuccino or whatever your favorite choice of beverage is. So I think that's amazing. What, so many people are offering their services to all the frontline workers. Just after our commercial break, I was chatting to Jersey Jill from Langtons, who's running a marathon of 26k on Friday morning for the Good Shepherd Centre. Just before we actually speak to Jersey Jill, yesterday to Fergal Miller from Sam McCauley's as our COVID-19 thank you to all other pharmacists. We are thanking just one pharmacist as a way of thanking all the pharmacists and all the personnel in the pharmacies. And this is what he had to say.
On the line now, I am speaking to Fergal Miller from Sam McCauley's pharmacy up here in Lochboy. Fergal, you're very welcome to the Woman to Woman show on Community Radio Kilkenny City.
Thanks very much, Roisin. Lovely to talk to you.
Fergal, as you're aware, the Woman to Woman show during the COVID-19, we are extending the show out there to thank the frontline workers within our community here in Kilkenny City. And the pharmacies are definitely right in the heart of the frontline services and workers in providing invaluable services to us, the general public. And it's business as usual, even though there's a lot of restrictions around working in the pharmacy and the services that you provide.
Yes, it's true. I mean, we knew looking at the situation in other countries as it was developing across Europe that pharmacies and supermarkets were two of the services two of the more retail-based services that would never close if the worst came to the worst. And so we were kind of bracing ourselves for that. It's been a crazy few weeks really since around the middle of March, and the way we do things has changed, and it's still changing. But I just want to thank the public for a lot of the kind messages of support, and just reassure them that as we come into work every day, we're trying to do things, keep things business as usual. It doesn't always seem that way. It's unusual. It's strange for people coming up to our door to have to queue to get in. It's strange for them to be asked questions at the door. It's strange for them not to be able to browse around the shop as we'd like them to be able to do as well. But look, at the situation is changing the whole time, and for the moment it seems like this is the new normal. We're looking forward to things going back to the way they were, whenever that will be. But we've had a couple of challenges of faces in the past few weeks, and like I said, we're still learning and still trying to adapt to that.
What challenges would you say that you have been the most challenging that you have faced during the COVID-19?
Well, I'd say probably going back to around the middle of March, when there was a lot of panic coming into the community, and people were afraid, understandably, very understandably. And we had a very busy spell kind of around the middle of March when there was a lot of ideas going around and rumours, and, you know, some of the things that people were afraid of were that the pharmacies would close, or that they wouldn't be allowed to leave their house, or possibly even that the country would run out of supplies of certain medicines. So we kind of had a bit of a surge around then, with people, you know, looking for extra supplies of their medicines. Every house in the country, wanted to have paracetamol handy in the house. They wanted to have an inhaler. They wanted to have these sort of items that would help them if anybody got sick. So thankfully things have calmed down a lot since then, in terms of the level of prescriptions that we're doing and the level of the amount of medicines that we're selling. They're kind of back to normal. But like I said, because of the restrictions that are in place, we're seeing a lot more of our people using our delivery service, prescriptions, and instead of people visiting the doctor, obviously they're doing phone consultations. So we're doing a lot of things new now that we never did before. A lot of prescriptions are happening by email. There's a lot more phone calls. So we've kind of gone from, you know, meeting more people face to face at the counter and talking with them, which we love doing, and we miss it very much. But it's a lot of the business now is over the phone and through emails, and which, like I said, is a situation that we're adapting to the whole time. And I wouldn't say we've got it right yet. It does have its hiccups, but we're getting there. And, you know, hopefully it won't be too long before we can go back to meeting our customers face to face.
And Fergal, like your staff as well as the pharmacists who are dispensing the medication and prescriptions, but your frontline staff who are at the checkouts and the tills, how's your staff all coping walking through the coronavirus pandemic and with all the restrictions? Because they're also, you and your staff, you're also putting yourselves and your lives at risk in dealing with the general public.
It's true, yeah. Like one way of thinking about it, some people would say, okay, pharmacy, healthcare, it's also retail, and it's the retail service that hasn't been shut down. And for that reason, you know, there's gratitude there, and there's the idea, well, you know, I still have a job to go to in the morning. But the other side of it is you have a job to go to, but you're going in there, same as the supermarket workers and the other healthcare workers. You are putting yourself at risk. You're leaving the safety of your own home, which, yeah, like you said, it is stressful for the staff, bearing that in mind when they're coming into work. But we do have, you know, strict health and safety procedures in place here regarding hygiene and masks, and people come in and sometimes they don't recognise it's because of the masks, but and it's difficult to greet people properly, and yet they can't see you smiling. But, you know, I'd like to reassure them that we are smiling behind the masks some of the time anyway. But yeah, and I think the staff seem to be coping okay. I've tried to remind them that to take their time out as well. A lot of people, you know, not just in pharmacy but all over the country, had holidays booked around April and May, and, you know, because the travel restrictions are in place and, you know, different destinations are closed, there's a tendency to say, well, I'm not going to take that week off in April, or I'm not going to take that week off in May now because I can't go anywhere. But I think what I've emphasised to the staff is it's important to take your time out, you know, and if you've been working since January without a break, you know, everybody you should take that week off. And, you know, even if you're lucky and you get the weather, great, but just to hang out at home and take some time out and get some headspace, yeah.
And that's really important, isn't it? Getting that headspace to clear the mind.
Absolutely. How
are the customers coming in? How are you finding the response from the customers coming in? You said that there was a lot of appreciation there from the general public coming into the pharmacy. Yeah,
definitely. And overwhelming, some of the messages of support that we're getting, and, you know, people thanking us for being there for them. There's frustration as well because, you know, things aren't going the way they normally would in terms of, getting through to us on the phone or getting in to the pharmacy. And, all of this is new for us, with prescriptions coming in by email as well. And sometimes there's confusion and there's glitches in that system too. But, no, for the most part, everybody's been fantastic.
We have to take the safety precautions. We have to all stand outside and queue to come in. And we have to be asked the questions by the security at the door, because the security at the door is protecting us, the citizens, and the customers going in, and protecting the staff and keeping the social distancing and adhering to the rules.
Exactly, yeah. It's very important to emphasise that. And, while we know that, most people are very aware of the situation and the precautions that everybody should be taking, we have to go through the procedure at the door with everybody, just for safety, and just because there are some people who might at the door say, oh, well, actually somebody in my house does have symptoms. I didn't think of that before I came. Maybe I shouldn't have come down to the pharmacy. But you can always phone us. We can go through anything over the phone. We have a delivery system. So, we're trying to keep the service there for people who need it.
Well, Ferg, on the Woman to Woman show, and all of us here at Community Radio, we really would like to thank you and your staff for your frontline service, because you're certainly frontline heroes who will be remembered in our history in years to come as being frontline heroes through this coronavirus pandemic.
You're very good, Roisin. Thanks very much, and it's an absolute pleasure to serve the people of Kilkenny.
And it's an absolute pleasure for all us customers that go into your Sam McCauley's up in Lockboy, because you are part of the community. You get to know your customers and the locals within the neighbourhood. You know us by name. You know our prescriptions, what we, and you know our health just as much as what our GP was in some ways.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, no, we really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for all what you're doing in serving us, the community of Kilkenny, during COVID-19. And we wish you all great health, and stay well and stay safe for the remainder of the coronavirus.
You too, Roisin. Thanks very much. It was lovely chatting to you.
Thank you, Fergal. Thank you so much indeed.
You're listening to the Woman to Woman show with myself, Roisin Ni Chleirigh, on Community Radio Kilkenny City 88.7 FM.
Streaming live across the globe on Community Radio Kilkenny City.ie.